Welcome to our Healing Circle for July 2024. This Healing Circle in particular is for the Affinity Leadership Healing Circle for Muslim American Identified Folks, which is why I greet you with the greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Today, we will try to come together for this 30-minute asynchronous session to allow you time for self-love, self-healing, and also a moment of just reflection in ways that we're going to stand together. So we will read our solidarity acknowledgement. We stand in solidarity with our global family for the end of the pain and suffering of all forms of oppression and domination. We believe solidarity is the path forward for dismantling the interlocking systems of oppression that harms the people and our planet. We're empathetic with our brothers and sisters on their community-specific quest for liberation. We're building a multi-sector, multi-generational, intersectional global movement for healing, freedom, and justice. To introduce who is the speaker today, the voiceover speaker is Dr. Tamiko Ball. I myself am an African-American female Muslima, and I show up in various ways, as you can see. I show up from the left, you might see these beautiful flowers behind me. I'm a flower, I love to garden, I love plants. I'm also a practitioner in the educational field, serving as a school leader and also as an adjunct professor. You might also find me as a person that's just outside taking a beautiful walk out in nature. I love to focus on fitness and wellness. And then to the left is just one of the many occasions that we get a chance to celebrate twice a year for our Eid. So this was this past particular Eid al-Fitr for 2024. Just so you can get to know who the speaker is today. Our norms for your conscious our norms for your conscious People for Equity journey. We have several that we're going to focus on and think about for ourselves as we enter this space today, for our brothers and our sisters who are attending. That is what we hope that you will have as you enter this space, to know that to be a conscious leader and to focus on yourself, to affirm yourself, you have to be or create a brave space. There's a space of confidentiality, whether you are journaling for yourself or sharing with another accountability partner. You have intention and understand that this intention doesn't override impact. Accept your responsibility. Be graceful with yourself and others. That you'll be in a space of learning versus judging. As you think about the possibilities, and accept and expect non-closure, that everything is not going to get resolved, of course, within one session, but it is a continual journey. All right. We also have a mission. There are some blueprints for this mission that we focus on capacity building, coaching. It is data informed for our developing coaching capacity. And there are many opportunities to partner with developing coaching capacity on these spaces for capacity building within your organization, coaching for conscious leadership, and that to know that we will come in and analyze and do a thorough analysis of the work environment and make sure that the workshops, coaching sessions, and professional development is based on data and is data informed. That it focuses on equity, the outcomes will be to focus on love, healing, and of course, that it is justice oriented. The mission, we expand the capacity of leaders to do good, fostering a more compassionate, equitable, and just society. The vision, all people, regardless of background, are thriving and freely throughout this planet. Thriving and freely throughout this planet. Developing purpose-driven leaders to transform your personal leadership, build team capacity, shift organizational culture to something which is more positive, optimistic, and asset-based, and to leverage data-informed decision making. Audre Lorde makes this statement, and she has made this quote that has become so popular, and I'm glad and thankful that many people are embracing this quote, which is caring for myself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare. So we want you to think of that as you enter this space today. And I'm sure if you're entering this space, you've already chosen something for yourself, but please know not to have any guilt in that space. No guilt in levels of self-indulgence and self-preservation. Because in order to do the work, you have to preserve yourself. So we'll get to some slides like that today. In this session, for this particular time frame, there are a couple of things you may want to jot down. You may want to reflect. You may want to jot down after you end the session and listening, or you may want to even pause the session. But the first question for yourself to think about is, how am I currently using my power to unapologetically own my identity, brilliance, and expertise? How do I show up as my full self? How do I embrace my power, my positionality, and wherever I'm showing up at, whether it's in my personal or professional space, to show up authentically, unapologetically, owning my identity, my brilliance, and my expertise? Think about that. And the next question is, how does your identities serve as an asset to your work? And think about your various identities and how you might show up. How do your identities serve as an asset to your work environment, to the work that you are proposing, work that you are leading, work that you are contributing to? How do you show up as a leader and a team player? I know that sometimes we don't get the opportunity to just sit and pause and think about this. How am I showing up? And sometimes maybe we do. Maybe we think about it driving home, thinking about it once we close the computer. But the thinking about it is good because it causes us to have some levels of reflection. And it also maybe may push us to say, how do I want to extend myself? How do I want to improve in the ways that I'm showing up? How can I show up more authentically? How can I make sure that I am not dimming my light or dimming my true self? Also, how can I show other people how to treat me because of the way I show up? Or how can I model for others so they can show up as their authentic selves? But as you're thinking about all of this, the ways in which you show up, the ways in which you pour out, we want you to think today about ways you can pour back into your own self. And because of that, we call out that you must consider and ground yourself with some anchors and levels of sanctuaries, something that helps you to hold steady and to focus on your own healing. So the question for today is, what's the next best practical step to honor your own humanity daily? What might that be? Take a moment to add this in as an alarm reminder in your phone so that you don't get too busy throughout the day that you say, oh, wow, I didn't do this one thing for myself. I wish I could have taken 5 minutes, 10 minutes to do something good for myself. What did I do today after pouring out all of this? I might come home and I'm tired and exhausted. What is that one thing that I can do for myself? To treat myself well, to love up on myself, to give myself an anchor, to give myself a reset or recharge. And a few examples here in this infographic is sort of have a favorite drink, go out and walk in nature, choose your exercise, to remember that you have power and choice over how you want to show up, to practice gratitude, to think about or reflect on what is giving you hope, to meditate, to write in a journal, do some journal writing, write 5 things you love and hold on to those things as motivation. Recite your core values. Do something that is a favorite hobby for yourself. Listen to music. I would say take your time to make salat, make dua. Just take a moment to just make dua over something that you know that you want for yourself or that you need for yourself or family. So we're going to continue to push you to ground yourself, to find some sort of anchor and sanctuary. And why is that? Because in whatever work you're doing and whatever way you're showing up as a leader, you have to think about how to sustain yourself. In order to continue to do the work and to stay in the work, you have to have ways of sustaining your own self in order to be able to stay in a game or stay in a place to do the work. So in this Affinity Leadership Healing Circle, we have these reflective questions. You can take a picture of these, to think about these quite often, to come back to share with someone else, in your community, maybe your accountability partner, maybe a colleague. But think about ways in which you're showing up unapologetically, owning your identity, brilliance, and expertise. And then also, in what ways do you stop and pause to honor your own humanity daily? So we have other examples of which ways you can do so. Some of them are repeats, but you can take a movement break. Whatever that favorite drink might be, maybe it's some tea, maybe it's coffee, maybe it's kombucha, maybe it's infused water. To remember to find something that gives you hope and hold on to that. Practice gratitude, state it out loud, tell other people that you're thankful for them. Tell your own self what you're thankful for of your own self, the accomplishments, the progress, the steady movements that you're making for your own self, the ways you are choosing you. Listen to some soothing sounds. Maybe change your environment. Maybe think about another space that you can go to that just gives you some reinvigoration or resets you because you've changed your physical space. Sometimes just stepping out and getting some fresh air or going into another room or walking through your building to just get some movement in, it can make the world of a difference in how you come back to your work. And because we are in this space as Muslim leaders coming together, it is something that I must call us to, and that is our intersectionalities and our intersectional identities and inclusiveness that we would like you all to think about. So here's the deal. We may recognize, and maybe we don't, because it depends upon if or if not we've been othered, if we've had some moments of thinking about sense of belonging, and we've had moments of thinking about inclusiveness. But what I can share with you is considering our intersectional identities of both ethnic and religious, we at times exist in spaces where it feels we are being othered, or either due to circumstances, events, it feels we don't belong. Knowing how this may make you feel, consider how you can ensure you aren't perpetuating othering within our own global Muslim community. Take a moment to think about in what ways you can help another sister or brother feel included, and in what ways might inclusiveness look like. If you can imagine it for yourself, you can also consciously and intentionally create it for others. Take a moment to think about this charge and in what ways you can create more inclusive spaces within our Muslim community amongst our diverse ethnicities and varied economic statuses within our community. This focus aims to create safe, loving, unified, and healing spaces for us all. At the very end, I would ask that you share your thoughts on how this session is helping you to think about your own healing, your own grounding, your ways that you show up for identity purposes for your own self, the very intersectionalities of your identity, whether it is you thinking about your gender, whether you are a parent, whether you are a sister or brother, whether it is your role that you have. We already understand what our religion is for Islam and that we're showing up representing from the very moment that we come into a place, either by way of our outside dress, by way of our mannerisms, by way of the way we interact and socialize. We're showing up with these very identities. So those identities, they play a part. People see us, people have perceptions. We know that. There are some things that they are able to assume right away in regards to our own levels of hopeful integrity, hopeful levels of caring. But either way, we need to make sure that if it's a good perception or not, that you have a good perception of yourself and that what you show up in the world represents who you are authentically. I pray that you have a caring space, a sense of belong space. And if you don't have that, that people around you will begin to know you in such an authentic way that it breaks down some barriers that people may have in regards to when they look at or think about who and what a Muslim should be. I call you to not be in a box, to bust out of all those boxes that people may think of us and ways that they may feel that we're supposed to show up and show up as your true, authentic self and your identity. And I know and I trust that the more we impact, the more we communicate, the more we are able to socialize and exchange and interact with others, they will come to understand the true love and peace that exists within our community. I wish the very best for you as you leave this session, as you review this session, and that I hope that your assessment of the session will show up in ways that you can say that you have thought and reflected on the ways in which we show up and what we can create for ourselves and others. Okay, thank you so much. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.